These are all the books that I'm going to be reading in April. Hi guys, and welcome back. Today's video I'm going to be talking about my April Goodreads, and I have quite a big stack. Just kidding. We're going to talk about what's on my list and we'll see where I get to. I have quite a bit of short books, so I might be able to read more than 4 this month. In this big pile of books, there's one book that I know I will not be reading, which is Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. And that is because I have already read this book. This is on my stack because I just wanted to share that I went to an author talk last week and I got it signed. I actually got 2 copies signed. This is my book that I've had for a couple years, and my partner actually bought one in the last second. So we might be doing a little giveaway with this book soon. But yeah, this book is about kind of like intentional reciprocity, and ecology and botany, indigenous knowledge versus Western science. It is a personal narrative. Maybe some would call it like a memoir into Robin's world. She identifies as a Native American mother, botanist, and she has just beautiful writing in it, so highly recommend. I don't exactly know why she was doing kind of like this book tour, considering this book came out like maybe 10-ish years ago. I don't really know, like definitely more than 5 years ago. I think it's to do with this organization that she co-created. It's called Plant Baby Plant, and what I know about it is that it's trying to create sustainability through action. So we've passed the stage of knowledge. If you read this book, you know that you want to give back to the land. So now it's time to put that into action. This organization encourages you to plant more native species that brings in a lot of pollinators, specifically like the monarch butterflies, and encourages you to build community. And yeah, just like fight despair through small, meaningful actions. So their biggest thing is turn awareness into action, which is really cool. So please take a look at this organization. So getting on with the actual books that I'll be reading this month, I wanted to start with Sinners. I know this was on my last month's TBR. It is still on next month's TBR read. I started reading it and I only got about 40 pages in, and I really do want to finish this. I don't know if I'm gonna read it this month, but the foreword is written by Neil Gaiman, and I've read a couple of his other books, and he's this like big horror fantasy writer. I don't read much horror books, but for Neil Gaiman, I will. So considering that he wrote this foreword, I really want to get into this. And I think this book is very critical to read in these times when everybody is trying to get off their devices and think about what they're consuming. It's this 90s cyberpunk book that's set in a world where like society and art and technology are all intergrained. So thinking about how technology bleeds into our life, this has a lot to say about how we use our time, especially among the screens. The next book that was brought up also in my last video was Haruki Murakami's The City and Its Uncertain Walls. I was not going to read Japanese lit fic, but I was house sitting in Beaverton last week, and okay, this lady had so many good books. I don't know why I gravitated towards a Japanese literature fiction, even though I've been reading so many, and I told myself I wouldn't, but I did anyways. And because I read like a little bit there, and I had this book at home, once I left like house sitting, I like knew I could continue it there. So maybe a part of me was like, if I pick any other book on our bookshelf, I might not be able to access those when I get home. So whatever, there's some bias in choosing. the book. Anyways, I'm so glad I started this. I am about halfway through, so that is my one up on trying to get through all of those books throughout this month. But I haven't finished in April, so that's why it counts. If you don't know anything about this book is about a man who falls in love with this woman who talks about this kind of mysterious town that nobody knows about. And one day she suddenly goes missing. Throughout his life, this man is searching for that town in order to fall back in love. But this town is not an ordinary town. This town has like laws that defy our sense of reality, such as brick walls that are ever shifting and are invincible, like you take the sharpest knife and it won't scratch the brick. Or there's a pool that lets you escape underneath back into the real world. And everybody in that town loses their shadow eventually. Like you're not even allowed to enter the town with a shadow. The thing I love about Japanese literature fiction is that things don't make sense. And that's okay. And so I just love that feeling of being a kid and just listening to a story and being so enthralled by it. But at the same time, that itch in me of being like, what is this supposed to mean? I don't understand. It's always like gnawing at the back of my head. And so I wanted to get away from literary fiction for a little bit, but I just couldn't resist. So that will be on my April TBR reads. TBR. Housekeeper and the Professor, Yoko Ogawa. I requested this from the library before I said I wasn't going to read Japanese literary fiction. It's short, okay? So maybe I'll get to it. It follows a housekeeper who comes in and is hired by one of the professor's family members to take care of him because he suffers from a very unique condition where he can only remember the last 80 minutes of his life. So it's kind of funny how the housekeeper every day has to kind of reintroduce herself. And from that, they develop this very unique relationship between the housekeeper and then the housekeeper's son and this math professor. So yeah, it is short. We'll see if I read it. It might be at the bottom of my list. I don't know. Okay, next we got... Oh my god, my foot is all falling asleep. Oh. Okay, we got Parade. Parade by Rachel Cusk. Parade by Rachel Cusk. This book I found from a YouTube influencer, Leah Compton. I love her. I love her so much that I felt kind of partly inspired to create this book vlog because she just creates these very homely vlogs and it makes me want to read, and everything that she talks about in her vlogs like are so beautiful, and like I admire her book selection so much. So I saw this in one of her books and I'm going to read it this month. Parade is an experimental novel and it has like these fractured point of view stories is what I've been told. The book explores art and identity and gender through fragmented stories. And it also won the 2024 Goldsmith Prize. It's just traditionally unconventionally structured. This book apparently demolishes that conversation of storytelling, which reminded me kind of the book The Dream House by Maggie Nelson, which was like a very choose your own adventure-esque book that broke the rules of book narration. So if it had any remnants to that book, I'm really excited to get into it. And again, it's a short book, so this is why I can read so much. So the next book I'm going to read is The Passions According to GH by Clarice Lispector. And this is another Leah influenced book. When she was talking about this book and she read an excerpt, I don't have that saved anywhere, but I just remember being like so in awe of that writing that I knew I had to request it from the library immediately, which was such a good idea. Now, Clarice Lispector is a writer who I've not engaged with yet, but is one of these authors that I have already known that I'm going to buy their complete collection of works. I don't know what I'm gonna buy yet. Hold your horses, but please, if you have a favorite, comment below, because I do want to read some of her better books before I get into like the more niche side of Clarice Lispector. I don't even know why I want to already own Lispector's books, given I haven't even finished one of hers, but just based off of like when Leah read a portion of this book in her vlog and the portion that I've read thus far, it's just like the type of writing that's not fully understandable right off the bat, and it makes you really want to think. It makes you slow down and appreciate intentional words. And so you want to spend time with it, and so these are just like good books to invest in and like give away, not give away, but like let friends borrow, and just, yeah, expand your thinking. And I'm so obsessed. The book is about a woman named GH who goes into her maid's quarters who had previously got fired, or maybe she quit, I forget which one, but she goes in there expecting that the room is going to be terribly dirty. It seems like they didn't have the best relationship towards each other, so she believes that the maid left the state in a very disastrous environment to kind of be a revengeful tactic towards that hateful and despising relationship that they both have. Upon realizing that the space is actually clean, so barren that it's almost as if it's a psych ward, I think, which is kind of like a precursor of like what goes down, because even though it's so clean, she discovers a cockroach, and that's the whole plot. And so from there, she kind of like has this psychological unraveling and just a complete breakdown of who she is and her own identity. Really, what I think is going to be really cool about this is how it's such a singular narrative and a singular experience that will expand into something much greater than what it actually is. I'm going to savor this book, and I'm so excited. This is my first time ever getting to read a Clarice Lispector book. Next on my list, back to Zadie Smith. I read On Beauty last month, loved it. So now I have two choices. I have Dead and Alive, which are essays, a collection of essays, and I have White Teeth. Dead and Alive is maybe the first nonfiction book that I will read this year. I'm very set on reading this one. This one goes on the top of my priority TBR list. This book kind of has a lot of different things that she talks about, race and art. It kind of talks about the passing of important writers such as John Didion, Martin Amis, Hilary Mantel, Philip Roth, and Toni Morrison, all of which I've never read a single piece by any of them, so this could be a really good pathway into those authors' works. The other one, White Teeth, I know less about, but it's about two families, I guess, similar to On Beauty. It explores like immigration, culture, religion, etc. So next book. Now we're going to go through them a little bit faster. Words Are My Matter. Another collection of essays, I think, that are nonfiction. I put this in my reading bag just because it was on my shelf at my house. I read another Ursula K. Le Guin, The Dispossessed, earlier this year, and I loved her, but I don't think I'm ready to read a nonfiction piece by her just because I really want to soak in the fiction pieces before I get a little bit more of her brain. I just like to savor authors that way. Savor? Anyways. Next, Heartland by Banu Mushtaq. This is the only book that I did not request from the library. This book, I went to the library because I forgot a book when I was out. I always need to have a book on me. And so there was a lot of downtime, I remember one day, and so I walked to the library because it's a few blocks away, and I went to the Lucky Day section. And I actually really love this section and this service that the library provides, because you don't have to do a lot of searching around for a good book. These are books that have been curated and are checked out a lot. It's my assumption. I don't really know how they do their choosing, but every time I get a Lucky Day book, and you're only allowed 2 Lucky Book titles in a given checkout time, in a given checkout period. So that's why I know that like they're heavily loved. But yeah, this book is another collection of fictionalized stories, short stories about, I think it's about 10 to 12, forget how many, short stories about Muslim women in southern India. It really is just about that everyday domestic life of women, but it reveals more important messages about class and about gender and about religion and about the patriarchy. And so the reason why I'm going to continue to leave this on my TBR reads is because I think this book will be a very grounding view of systems that are harmful in a globalized world, and I need to be an educated queen this year. So yes, next. Oh, that's it. Okay, so in order of preference, you know it. I'm gonna start with this because I'm already halfway done. Oh my god. Okay, half. This one's skipping. This one first. This one I'll probably co-read alongside of it because it's more of like a note-taking one. Oh, and that reminds me, if you subscribe to my Substack, you will find more in-depth reviews of what I read. I've already read and written one review, in-depth review on The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin. And this is one of those books that I will also be doing a in-depth review. So please follow my Substack if you want to know more. Or want to just like see my inner workings as I write on paper. Okay, so this one, and then I think I might do a Zadie Smith book, followed by Parade. So big, like a bigger book, followed by Parade, a smaller book. And then I might do this one, Heartlamp. These 5 books I know I'll be able to read in April. 3 of them really are really short. These 3 are really short, and these 2 are really long, but I'm almost halfway done with this. So that leaves me these books. I'll circle back around. I'll have Housekeeper and the Professor, which might be up there. Oh, I forgot. Sinners. I have 4 books that I'll choose from, so I guess you'll see which ones I choose in my next video. Cheers to the governor. Today's video is not sponsored by Rosalind Coffee, but if you live in Portland, Rosalind Coffee, you can sponsor me if you want. I don't even know if coffee shops sponsor people. Like, do they give them just like free coffee, or I don't know. But thanks for coming and listening to my talk.